The scariest short stories you haven't read yet. Prepare to be terrified. The first story is The Hookman by K.D. Williamson. There once was a killer who would stalk the streets at night looking for his next victim. He always chose women for his victims, and he would take them out into the woods behind their homes and slaughter them. Their bodies were never found and their families never heard from them again until one day a young girl named Jenny disappeared. The police had a hunch that this was the same killer's handiwork, but they couldn't find any evidence to link him to the crime. They questioned everyone in town, but no one had seen anything. As the days turned into weeks with still no sign of Jenny, her family began to lose hope. Then one day a local man came forward with some information. He told the police that he had seen a man matching the killer's description lurking around Jenny's house the night she disappeared. The police were able to track down the man and bring him in for questioning. At first, he denied everything, but eventually cracked and confessed to all of the murders. The police were finally able to bring this monster to justice, but not before he had claimed several innocent lives. The next story is The Vanishing Hitchhiker. A hitchhiker who had been traveling from state to state began to feel ill while traveling through Louisiana. She pulled over to the side of the road and got out of her car to go to a nearby gas station. When she went to get back in her car, she noticed that it had been tampered with. The gas cap was loose and the tire was flat. She tried to fix it, but it was no use. So she decided to walk the rest of the way to the gas station. As she was walking, she began to feel dizzy and weak. She sat down on a nearby porch to catch her breath when a man came out and offered to help her. He drove her to the gas station and even offered to pay for her gas, but when she turned around, she realized that he was missing. She screamed for help, but no one could hear her. She ran out of gas and collapsed on the ground. When the police finally found her, they discovered that she had been stabbed to death. The man who had helped her was never seen again. The third story is The Black Cat. A woman who had recently moved into a new apartment began to hear strange noises coming from the walls. At first, she thought it was just the sound of the city, but as time went on, the noises became more frequent and more disturbing. One day, she heard what sounded like screams in the middle of the night. She called the police, but they were unable to find anything. She began to feel like she was going crazy until one day she met her new neighbor. He was a tall, thin man with a dark complexion. He introduced himself and told her that he had just moved in next door. They began to talk and she learned that he was an artist. One day she invited him over for dinner, and as they were eating, she told him about the strange noises she had been hearing. He listened intently, and when she finished, he told her that he knew exactly what it was. He told her that there was a black cat that lived in the walls, and that it only came out at night. She didn't believe him at first, but after hearing so many stories about black cats, she began to think maybe he was right. Then one night she heard the screams in the wall again and she knew that she wasn't alone. The fourth story is The Doll. A young mother who had recently given birth to her first child began to notice strange things happening around the house. At first, she thought it was just postpartum hormones making her paranoid, but as time went on, the strange occurrences became more frequent and more intense. One day she was sitting in her rocking chair when it suddenly started to move on its own. She also began to see the shadow of a little girl standing at the foot of her bed. Then one night she woke up to the sound of laughter coming from the nursery. She went to investigate and saw that the door was wide open and her baby was missing. She screamed for help, but no one could hear her. And that's when she saw the doll sitting in the corner of the room, staring directly at her with its lifeless eyes. These stories are just a small sampling of the many terrifying tales that are sure to keep you up at night. If you want to hear more, stay tuned for more content. And remember, some things are best left unknown.